Hello, Joe here from Infiniti of Tacoma. Today I'm going to tell you about this beautiful 1978 Mercedes-Benz SL 450, or is it 450 SL? It's one of those. Usually when I'm doing videos it's more modern vehicles, but we actually acquired this nice 1978 Mercedes-Benz. So if you're in the market for a vintage automobile, I think soon to be classic. If I remember correctly, I think it's 50 years for it to be a classic vehicle. So 1978, so not, was it another 7-8 years before this one's 50 years old. So if you want a cool, classic German vehicle, this hard top and soft top Mercedes 450 SL is definitely one to consider. We'll fire it up. Big 4.5 liter V8, runs pretty good. Cold starting it, when I started it this morning to do this video, first time we started it today, cranked it for a couple seconds, didn't start, cranked it again, fired right up. When it's cold, it idles a little bit rough, but then it smooths right out. We inspected it in our shop, and as you would expect of any vehicle that this old, it's not perfect. There are some issues. It does have some minor oil leaks. Our technician rated them about 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10. The power steering pump, rear main seal, things that probably aren't dire to fix now, but eventually, I guess, if you want to make it perfect, or you don't want it, you know, having a little drip on your garage floor or driveway, it's something that eventually you might want to take care of. But you have to consider pricing. You know, this one, I don't like to talk too much into pricing because we change our prices all the time, but right now this is priced in the $14,000 range. But if you're looking at one that's pretty much in mint condition, restored, you know, car show condition, those are usually $20,000-$30,000 and up. So I think it's definitely a cool way to get into a classic Mercedes-Benz product. Everything works fairly well. The windows both work. Not the fastest windows in the world, but they do work. All the gauges work. Has a little bit more of a modern sound system. The heat and ventilation system works well. I know it sounds kind of like a car salesman car salesman spiel, but I bought this from a 92-year-old lady. She owned it for 25 years. It was garaged. I saw the garage she kept it in. She wanted a vehicle just to do short drives. She didn't drive far, being her age, and she got to the point where she can't drive anymore. So her son was just kind of encouraging her to sell it. Her son works with us selling Xylon. He's a Xylon representative, and they install ceramic coatings on vehicles. So that's how we know him. And he mentioned, oh, you know, you guys sell cars. My mother wants to sell her old Mercedes. I don't know if this is something that you guys would consider, but us at Infiniti of Tacoma, we're interested in all sorts of vehicles. So if it makes financial sense for us, we think we can sell it and make a little bit of money on it. We'll pretty much buy almost any car, you know, within reason. So that's how we acquired this beautiful Mercedes. So the customer lives in a University Place, and I drove it. So I got to drive it on the highway, driving it back to the dealership. It drives really nice on the highway. Very smooth ride. And it's all relative, so if you've never driven an older vehicle like this from the 1970s, it's not going to drive like a modern day, even like, you know, it's not going to drive as good as a modern day, you know, Toyota Corolla or Nissan Sentra, or even a Nissan Sentra or Toyota Corolla that might be 10 or 15 years old. It's going to drive differently. 1970s car technology was a lot different, so it's all relative. It's not something that probably would be a daily driver for someone. This is something for someone who wants a nice, you know, classic type of car to go for a Sunday drive, take to a, you know, cars and coffee event or something like that. Or if you want something to tinker around with and you want to fix it up and, you know, make it into almost, you know, show condition or restore it, this would be a great vehicle for a starting base. Pretty dry in the trunk. There is one minor water leak here, but we're not keeping this one outside. But you can see where this weather stripping is kind of loose here. Basically that needs to get fixed and it's kind of dripping down. But other than that, it's a pretty pretty tight and waterproof vehicle considering how old it is. Not too often I get to do videos on vehicles that are older than me. This is older than me at about 2 years. And something that you see a little bit more today, but not so often in the 1970s, it does have 4-wheel disc brakes. The chrome wheels are in nice shape. Good amount of rubber on those tires. Good amount of tread. And just the way everything closes, the latches, it's all heavy duty. It almost feels like a vault. Very well built vehicle. As far as I know, we'll probably have to take it off to confirm it, but the convertible top is in good condition. I don't think the previous owner used the convertible top at all. I think the hard top's been on this car for the last 25 years. We have all the tools and stuff to remove it. We also have some of the original books and paperwork for the vehicle too. Those are the tools in there for the for moving the top. Oh, and look at that old roadside assistance sticker. That's pretty cool. Nice classic Mercedes-Benz wagon. My dad actually, my family had one when I was a little kid, 1980 Mercedes-Benz diesel wagon. One of my favorite cars my dad has ever owned. And it has classic lines. This is definitely a classic vehicle design. I think, you know, it could be a highly sought after classic in a not too distant future if someone keeps it in nice condition and maybe even fixes it up a little more. But you know, it's still a nice car in its current state. You know, if I own this car, I probably wouldn't do much to it. I would just probably leave it the way it is and just keep it up in good condition and have a nice little classic driver. There's that big old 4.5 liter V8. Lots of torque, plenty of power. I was going 65, 70 miles an hour on the highway, no problem. As you can see, there's a lot less wires, a lot less tubing and stuff. That in modern vehicles, you don't have as much complicated computers, emission systems like you did, that you do today versus back then. And obviously, if you want to get it inspected by someone else independently, you can do that. We're more than fine to do that. If you're a little bit further away, we can get this car shipped to you. We have complimentary shipping within 250 miles. We can put it in our car hauler and tow it to you. If you live in a different state, you know, obviously it's a little bit more of a roll of the dice to buy a car like this, sight unseen. But like I said, if you want to have it, hire a local inspector just to confirm it's in good shape, we can pretty much get this car shipped to any part of the country. You know, there's a little few spots of you know, rust and corrosion here and there, but it's very, very minor compared to a lot of other vehicles like this that might have spent most of their lives in like a Rust Belt state like in Boston where I grew up. Generally here in the Pacific Northwest area, we don't have snow, maybe once or twice a year, no road salts, so vehicles usually age very nicely in this part of the country. And due to our overcast climate that we have quite often, you don't have the sun damage as well. Sometimes in the southern parts of the country, sun can damage and crack, you know, the plastic and vinyl, and it can, you know, crack the paint and fade the paint. So I think actually the Pacific Northwest is probably one of the best areas for older cars, and that's why when you come out here and you drive around, you see a lot of older cars versus like when me growing up in Boston, you don't see too many old cars because people have them stored away in the garages or they're piles of rust. Any questions about this Mercedes, feel free to give us a call. Thanks so much for watching this video. Really cool car, hope you enjoyed it. And again, contact us if you have any questions. See you soon and have a wonderful day.